Dragon Age is by far my favorite series of fantasy role-playing video games. It is an epic tale of incredible scale, and I personally constantly find myself engrossed with it with every playthrough, regardless of which title I'm playing. Each game is awesome in its own right, and the story is magnificent, so much so that the video game series has expanded to other forms of media and now spans multiple spin-off games, novels, graphic novels, comic books, web series, an anime film, and an animated television series, as well as, of course, the upcoming fourth installment of the video game series and the upcoming live action series that is being developed by Netflix. I'm so looking forward to that one. With so much lore that only keeps expanding, I wanted to encapsulate the story so far, but do it in a way that does not overwhelm you with information, be you a seasoned fan or a new one. So be aware that there will be spoilers going on ahead. I hope you all are ready, as we're heading into a unique world where spells and blades are the weapons of choice, demons and dragons collide, and politics are as grave of a threat as the end of the world itself. The story is mostly set within the fictional continent of Thedas, which consists of various clans, nations, and states inhabited by multiple humanoid people, and unsurprisingly, race, class, and heritage combine to determine social class and political dynamics across the land. Now there are 5 main races: humans, dwarves, elves, Qunari, and Darkspawn. Humans are the dominant race, with kingdoms spanning most of Thedas. The dwarves reside within their great underground cities, while the elves are refugees and outcasts after their great civilization fell. The Qunari reside north of Thedas across the ocean, while the Darkspawn are a race of corrupted beings that live deep underground and only emerge in giant hordes every few hundred years during a blight. Now a blight is a Darkspawn invasion of the surface world led by an archdemon, an old god in the form of a dragon. And another important aspect in this story is the Fade, which is an otherworldly realm like an afterlife, inhabited by spirits, demons, and other metaphysical beings, and actions in that realm can affect the physical world as well. Now in this world, there are 6 central groups of power: the Grey Wardens, the Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templar Order, the Tevinter Imperium, and the Inquisition. The Chantry is the leading human religious organization of Thedas, somewhat like the Christian Church of medieval Europe. Its goal is to spread their faith to every corner, regardless of race. The Circle of Magi is the ruling body of mages in Thedas, who trains new mages in the art of magic. The Circle is controlled by the Chantry and monitored by the Templars. The Templar Order is the militant arm of the Chantry, specializing at fighting magic. Their primary job is to oversee the Circle of Magi and to hunt rogue mages, those who refuse to be part of the Circle, or those who misuse their magical powers, usually by practicing blood magic. Now, the Grey Wardens are an ancient order of warriors created to combat the Darkspawn and the Blights in particular, as they are essential in stopping each one. The Tevinter Imperium is the oldest state in Thedas, which once ruled most of the continent with its unique love and employment of magic. The ruling body consists of magisters, powerful mages that serve the even more powerful Imperial Archon. The Imperium has been at war with the Qunari people for centuries, which has largely led to their downfall as the ruling empire. Despite that, however, they are still a force to be reckoned with. Lastly, the Inquisition was originally an organization formed after the First Blight. Their task was to defend people from rogue mages, cultists, heretics, and other dangerous groups that spread chaos. The Inquisition later transitioned into what is now known as the Templar Order and the Seekers of Truth, the 2 military arms of the Chantry. Now the main story is set across the 3 games that we will get into, and I condensed it a bit so it will be a little easier to follow for all fans and viewers alike. Chapter 1: Dragon Age Origins. We begin our story with Aiden Kuzland, second son of Tyrn Bryce Kuzland of Highever. On the night his brother took their soldiers to war, the Kuzland's ancestral castle was betrayed from within by Arl Rendon Howe when he launched a surprise attack and slaughtered all inhabitants, including Bryce and his wife Eleanor. Aiden was able to escape due to Warden Commander Duncan's intervention. He leaves with Duncan, the leader of Ferelden's Grey Wardens, who is seeking new recruits. The two head to Ferelden's southern fortress, Ostagar, to join the King of Ferelden, Kaelin, and his father-in-law, Loghain, a legendary general. The three plan to attack an encroaching Darkspawn horde to stop a new blight from devastating Ferelden. Duncan senses the influence of an archdemon, a godlike dragon that orders the Darkspawn, and he stresses the importance of defeating the blight before it can threaten the rest of the nation. Duncan initiates Aiden into the Grey Wardens via a ritual called the Joining, which involves drinking Darkspawn blood. If they survive, the recipient is granted the Taint, a connection into the Darkspawn hive mind to sense them. Aiden, who survives the ritual alongside his fellow warden Alistair, are tasked with lighting the beacon at the top of the fortress to signal Loghain's men into charging the Darkspawn horde flank. However, Loghain abandons the battlefield, leaving Kaelin, Duncan, and their army to be slain by the Darkspawn, who seize control of Ostagar and begin advancing into southern Ferelden. Aiden and Alistair are saved by Flemeth, a powerful witch who lives in the wilds. Flemeth sends her daughter Morrigan to accompany Aiden and Alistair in gathering a new army to combat the Archdemon and stop the Blight. They head out on an incredible adventure, as they use the ancient Grey Warden treaties to enlist the aid of the Circle of Magi, the Dalish Elves, the Dwarves of Orzammar, and the soldiers of Arl Eamon in Redcliffe. Now during the journey, Alistair reveals that he is the son of King Merrick, making him a contender for the now vacant throne left by his late brother. Meanwhile, Loghain returns to Ferelden's capital city, Denerim, to inform his daughter, Queen Anora, of Kaelin's death. Loghain then scapegoats the Grey Wardens for the defeat at Ostagar and demands the execution of any survivors. Naturally. Anora inherits her husband's authority, while Loghain declares himself her regent and seizes control of the kingdom, becoming a despotic ruler determined to retain power. Ferelden's nobility rebel against him, igniting a full-on civil war which ends in an unsettled deadlock and allows the Darkspawn to advance even further unopposed. Arl Eamon then calls a landsmeet to rally the kingdom against the Darkspawn, where Aiden faces and defeats Loghain in a one-on-one duel. Loghain is then executed by Alistair for his crimes. Aiden, now named the Warden, settles that Ferelden will be ruled by both Alistair and Anora as a married pair. As preparations for the battle commence, the party learn that the Grey Warden must be the one to slay the Archdemon to prevent it from releasing a demonic essence, which finds a new host in the nearest Darkspawn, thus continuing the cycle. The essence will be drawn to the Taint within the Warden instead, killing him in the process. Morrigan meets with Aiden and proposes a ritual that will see her conceive a child from this gathering with him. Now, the Archdemon upon death will instead be drawn to the child, who will be born as a demigod, sparing Aiden in the process. Morrigan agrees on the condition that she raises the baby alone, to which Aiden accepts. The next day, the Warden and the newly assembled army gather in Denerim. They repel the Darkspawn horde and vanquish the Archdemon after a grueling battle. The Warden slays the Archdemon, and the remaining Darkspawn retreat and flee from Denerim down towards the undergrounds again, marking the end of the fifth Blight. The story ends with a ceremony attended by Ferelden citizens and companions, where the Warden and the rest of the party are honored for saving the kingdom. Now an epilogue details the ramification of the Warden's choices along the journey, including the future of Ferelden, any rumors, and the fates of his companions, including Morrigan. Chapter 2, Dragon Age 2. Cassandra Pentagast, along with the Seekers of Truth, are searching for Garrett Hawk, the champion of Kirkwall. She captures and interrogates his companion Varric, demanding to know how Hawk started a war between the Mages and Templars. Varric complies and tells her exactly how the story went. The tale starts shortly after the Battle of Ostagar, with the Hawk family escaping their home village of Lothering in Ferelden with a Darkspawn horde in pursuit. Carver, Hawks' sibling, is killed in the process while his sister Bethany and mother survive. Flemeth, a witch who can assume the form of a dragon, helps the party escape to Kirkwall, a city across the sea, provided that Hawk completes a task for her. Hawk joins the service of smugglers to enter Kirkwall, allowing the family to take residence in the city's low-town sector. Now, a year later, a prosperous opportunity presents itself to Hawk. Varric and his brother Bartrand are planning a treasure hunting expedition into the perilous region of the Deep Roads. Varric partners with Hawk to acquire funding and knowledge of the region. Hawk enlists the aid of Anders, a former Grey Warden with knowledge of the Deep Roads. However, a magical idol corrupts Bartrand's mind and causes him to betray Hawk and the party during the trip. Despite this, the party still manages to escape, and the proceeds from the expedition make Hawk famous and wealthy, enabling him to buy back his family mansion in Hightown. However, during the expedition, Bethany was conscripted into the Circle of Magi when she was found to be a mage, as the family was hiding her from the Templars. 3 years later, the Viscount of Kirkwall summons Hawk to help resolve a political situation caused by the foreign military forces of the Kunari. They shipwrecked in Kirkwall 3 years earlier and neither obeyed the laws nor seemed willing to leave, escalating tensions between them and the city's inhabitants. Meanwhile, Hawks' mother Leandra is kidnapped and murdered by a blood mage serial killer. Hawk resolves to uncover O, the identity of the serial killer's accomplice, and in the process discovers the real reason the Kunari refused to leave Kirkwall. Isabella, Hawks' companion, stole a coveted artifact from them, which they are not allowed to leave or return to their homeland of Port Valen without. When she flees Kirkwall with the artifact, the Kunari leader, the Arishok, decides to attack the city and execute the Viscount and everybody else. Hawk's party successfully retakes Kirkwall and Garrett eliminates the Arishok and is declared champion of Kirkwall. After another 3 years, Kirkwall becomes a police state under the tyrannical rule of the Templars. Under the lead of Knight Commander Meredith, they aim to oppress mages for their use of blood magic. Meredith is challenged by First Enchanter Orsino, the Circle of Magi leader in Kirkwall, who tries to remove her from public support. Constant violence between the two sides forces the champion of Kirkwall to intervene, during which a group of anti-Meredith rebels kidnaps Bethany. Fearing for her safety, Hawk attempts to get away from the conflict. However, Anders orchestrates an explosion that levels the Chantry and kills Grand Cleric Elthina. This triggers a battle between the mages and Templars across the city, forcing Hawk to choose a side, and during the chaos save Bethany and his companions. Hawk sides with the mages to stop the conflict, and they end up killing both Orsino, who is surmised to have been O, and Meredith, who bought the Lyrium idol from Bartrand, which has corrupted and twisted her mind as well. Afterwards, Hawk is hailed as a hero to mages. Varric ends the tale, saying that the party split, and Garrett left. Circles of Magi across Tatus followed Kirkwall's example and rebelled, with the Templars breaking away from the Chantry to fight them. Cassandra leaves with Liliana, one of the Wardens' companions, as they both seek Hawk and Aiden, who have disappeared, believing they must be found to help stop the war. Chapter 3: Dragon Age Inquisition. A massive explosion destroys a peace summit and creates a tear referred to as the Breach in the Veil itself, which is a magical boundary between the physical world and the Fade, the world of spirits and demons. The only survivor of the blast is a mysterious soldier with no memory of what happened, and yet possessing a mark on his hand capable of closing rifts in the Veil that have appeared in the Breach's wake. Witnesses claim the survivor was ushered out of the Fade by a mysterious female figure, believed to be the prophet Andraste, the historical bride of the Maker. After closing several rifts, he begins to be referred to as the Herald of Andraste. With the Chantry effectively leaderless now following the death of Divine Justinia V in the Peace Summit, Liliana and Cassandra Pentagast invoke one of the Divines' last orders to re-establish the Inquisition, an organization originally formed to defend against the dangers of magic. After closing the breach with help from rebel mages and remnants of the Temple Order, Haven is attacked by a force led by Corypheus, an ancient Darkspawn mage who was responsible for opening the breach. Aided by a dragon, Corypheus overcomes Haven's defenses and confronts the Herald. Corypheus refers to the mark as the Anchor, which he means to use to physically enter the Fade with the goal of attaining godlike powers. He attempts to remove the anchor with the magical orb-shaped elven artifact, but the herald sets off an avalanche, burying Haven and decimating Corypheus' army. Solas, a companion, leads the survivors to the abandoned fortress of Skyhold, which becomes the Inquisition's new base of operations. The herald is appointed as the Inquisitor, leader of the Inquisition. With none other than Hawks' assistance, the Inquisitor investigates the disappearance of the Grey Wardens and discovers they are being manipulated by Corypheus into raising an army of demons. During the battle against the Twisted Wardens, the Inquisitor enters the Fade and regains his memories, recalling he is Lord Maxwell Trevelyan of Ostwick. He discovers that he obtained the anchor at the summit after stumbling onto a ritual being carried out on Divine Justinia V by Corypheus, and then encountering the orb. Hawk seemingly sacrifices himself to help the others escape the Fade, after which the Inquisitor recruits the remaining Wardens. Some time passes and Maxwell attends a ball at the infamous Winter Palace to resolve the ongoing Orlesian civil war, thus be able to gain the aid of Orlesian forces. Afterwards, the Empress Arcane's advisor, Morrigan, joins the Inquisition as an Imperial liaison. She directs the Inquisitor to the Temple of Mythal to stop Corypheus from obtaining an Illuvian, an artifact which could enable him to enter the Fade. Inside the temple, Morrigan gains the powers of the Well of Sorrows, a store of magical energies tied to the elven goddess Mythal. The party escapes Corypheus through the Illuvian, which shatters behind them. Mythal is later revealed to be Morrigan's mother, Flemeth. Whoever drinks from the Well of Sorrows is the recipient of wisdom from previous servants of Mythal, but also binds them to her will. They discover that Corypheus' dragon is the key to stopping him, so they confront both as Corypheus reopens the breach. In an epic battle, the Inquisitor, with Morrigan's help, manages to defeat both him and his dragon, permanently sealing the breach. In the process, the orb carried by Corypheus is damaged. Back in Skyhold, the Inquisition celebrates their victory, while a dismayed Solas vanishes after recovering the device. An epilogue details the outcome of the Inquisitor's major decisions throughout the story. A crazy post-credit scene shows a meeting between Flemeth and Solas, who is in fact the Dreadwolf Fenharel, an elvish deity figure and the original owner of the orb. Their conversation reveals that Solas is indirectly responsible for the events of the Inquisition, and he was the one that allowed the artifact to come into Corypheus' possession, so that Corypheus could unlock this on his behalf. He then petrifies Flemeth and seemingly absorbs Mythal's powers, and we are left wondering what will happen until the fourth installment of the game. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the incredible story of Dragon Age up until now. For me personally, this fantastical world and tale is amazingly immersive and expansive, and I just love to dive into it head on with each playthrough. Now, the upcoming fourth game, named Dragon Age Dreadwolf, is going to take us on a wild ride as we experience the revolution of the elves that Solas initiated and will most likely lead. I'm also really looking forward to the live-action adaptation, and I so truly hope that everyone involved in it brings everything they got, as it can be the beginning of an incredible series. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for spending your time with me. Until our next adventure, y'all stay classy.